I thought taking the night off from doing a video on the Phillies recap, thought of just doing it this morning from last night's game would cool me off, but I'm still thinking about the loss from 2 nights ago because it's kind of creeping into last night's loss. So the Phillies fall to the Cubs 8-4, and I still feel like the loss 2 nights ago is creeping into this one. So Phillies early on, they get some runs going, they get some people on base. JT Realmuto, he hits a double into the ivy, scores 1 run. Probably should have scored 2, but it gets stuck in the ivy, so we're stuck with 1 run scored. The Phillies are getting their Manziel base. They're making Cole Hamels work. Cole Hamels didn't look comfortable at all. But just the more people we seem to get on base, the less we see to drive them in. The Phillies were very poor with runners in scoring position last night's game. But still early on, the Phillies managed to get a 3-0 lead. Rhys Hoskins drives in a run, Cesar drives in a run, so it's still 3-0, but Cole Orvin on the mound for the Phillies, it's his third career major league start. You could tell that he was a little nervous because he was facing more of an elite lineup in the Chicago Cubs. So he gets into early trouble, bases loaded. He's managed to get out of that without allowing a run. But a little bit, I think around the third, fourth inning, he allows 2 men on, but it was a pretty fluky allowing men on because it was a pop fly to center field. Really can't blame Scott Kingery for not catching the ball because center field is not his natural position, so he's probably really uncomfortable out there. But still, that is a ball that needs to be catched, but I'm not really going to put the fault on Kingery out there because he's just not in his natural position. So, you got 2 runners on, Anthony Rizzo, 3-0 count, ball right down the middle, over 430-foot bomb off the scoreboard in right field to tie the game at 3-3, and you can just tell the momentum right there is shifting towards the Cubs, and Cole Orvin he gets really afraid right there because later in this ball game, bases juiced for the Cubs, and you want to know what happens? Grand slam to make it 7-3, and Cole Orvin, even batters before this one, didn't want to pitch to Rizzo, didn't want to pitch to Bryant. He was afraid. And I don't want to say like he was due for a start like this, but this is what you should have expected from a young guy going into his third major league start, and this is his first time facing a tough lineup. But I'm not going to sit here and just give him a little pat on the back because it's unacceptable, and we need to win ball games right now. And I'm still going to mention that 2 nights ago we should have won that ball game, but it broke down because of bullpen misusing and people not being available to pitch. We should have won that ball game on Tuesday night, but we're sitting here, lost the ball game on Tuesday night, and now it's creeping into last night's loss. And there's just no fight in this team right now. Even though like some offensive numbers, you got Bryce Harper, he goes 3 for 5. That's sort of a bright side for him. He needs to get out of the slump that he's in. He laced a nice what am I saying? A bunt down the line. It was a pretty nice bunt for that. So he goes 3 for 5. Rhys Hoskins, he goes 1 for 3. He gets 2 walks, but you can still tell Rhys is in it's still a bit of a big slump that he's in right now. McCutchen, he goes 3 for 5, but he hits a really meaningless home run late in this ball game to make it 8-4, but really didn't do nothing. Gene Segura goes 2 for 4. The top of the lineup was able to get on base, but they were not able to drive in runs. As the first 3-4 hitters, they've only drove in 2 runs out of, I think, like the 14, 15 chances we had with runners in scoring position to drive in runs. We only got 2 runs out of the top of the lineup. And you also got JT Realmuto, he gets an RBI, and Cesar, he gets an RBI. So there's really not much to say that we were struggling with runners in scoring position today. And even though we made Cole Hamels work because he threw a lot of pitches in the beginning of this game, a lot of pitches through many of the innings, he still managed to throw the right pitch to get out of the inning, to get out of that jam. It just looks like we weren't working Cole Hamels enough because he was confident enough to get out of those jams that he was in. Even though this is not the Cole Hamels that we used to know from the 2008 Phillies team MVP of the World Series. This is a very much older Cole Hamels. He doesn't have the best stuff as he used to, but he's still a veteran enough to get out of those jams that he gets into. So, then, after Cole Irvin comes in, After Cole Irvin is done for the night, we bring in two relievers. One's De Los Santos. He goes 2 innings, but he allows a run. And also one thing, the Phillies had 13 hits today, and we only scored 4 runs. So that's something right there. The Cubs only had 8, and they scored 8, and all three of the runs came off the long ball. You got Rizzo's home run, you got the grand slam, and then you got Baez hitting a solo shot late in this ball game. So I don't want to keep saying this. It refers to the ball game 2 nights ago because I'm talking with my buddy about this, and we basically agree on the same thing because we should have won Tuesday night's ball game, and it we kind of thought that it crept into this ball game. So as I'm recording this right now, the Phillies have a 2 p.m. afternoon game in Chicago at Wrigley, and you got Aaron Nola on the mound against John Lester. We need a gem out of Aaron Nola today. We need him to go deep. We need him to get this team a win right now because going down in this series 3-1 to the Cubs, that is unacceptable. And the road trip just gets tougher as the days go on. As we face Milwaukee this weekend, and we go back home to face the Cardinals. Even though we beat the Cardinals a couple weeks ago in St. Louis, that's still going to be a tough task. Then we go out to Los Angeles, and then we go out to San Diego. Another road trip of 2 tough teams on the West Coast. So these wins, these like little games that we lose in the bottom of the innings, they mean so much more. And these are the losses that start to creep up to you as the season comes to an end. And once the season's over, you look back to these losses and say, man, if we just won that game, we probably would be in a better position. So the Phillies got to start winning these ball games late in the game. We can't be allowing runners to get on. We can't be allowing no outs in the bottom of the ninth inning. We got to close out ball games. We got to use the right pitchers, first of all. So that means Adam Morgan, Pat Neshek, Hector Neris, they have to be available no matter what. I don't care, Pat Neshek, be a veteran, get the ball, say, I'm going to go out there and pitch. Don't say, I throw him 3 pitches, I can't pitch for another 3 days. And I don't know why Adam Morgan wasn't ready. I don't know why Hector Neris wasn't ready. So it just comes to that Tuesday night loss that creeps into last night's loss. So I'm just going to say, Aaron Nola, we need a gem out of you today. Offense, we need you to step up a little bit against John Lester. I know that's a tough task, but you have to do it, basically. You have to at least tie this series and get out and go to Milwaukee with a 2-2 series against the Cubs. So what are you guys' thoughts on last night's game? What do you think the Phillies, in this little rut they're in, with pitching wise and just not getting runners in? What are your thoughts on that? Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you later, boys.